the motor unit chapter. I think this is a super important lesson and something that's often neglected with other kind of exercise science topics. It's not something that people talk a lot about, but I think it's a huge part of what we do, and especially what we're doing now in the modern day of coaching and training. So just to bring us up to speed, we've talked about muscles, how they work, how they get their energy, the kind of some differences between fast and slow twitch fibers, and all of that so far has been hardware talk. In this chapter, we're going to start talking about software. So we're going to start looking at the nerves that control these muscles, how they're laid out, how they control those muscles, and specifically how they're organized, right? So how they activate different muscles at different times, right? That's going to be the key factor in this chapter. So before we go on, what is a motor unit? So this is right down here. A motor unit is a group of muscle fibers, a group of muscle cells attached to a single controlling nerve. So in general, there's not one nerve for every muscle fiber in the body. There's just too many muscle fibers. You would never be able to control them all individually. So what the body's done is it groups muscle fibers to work together under the direction of a single nerve. And really, as we go through this talk, you're going to discover that the nerve controls just about everything about those muscle fibers. And it goes beyond just when to turn on and off. It actually controls what those fibers are. So the first half of this talk is going to be focused on the organization of this software, so the nerve highway getting a signal from the brain to the muscles, and also the differences between different motor units. So, and this is going to be a really big key subject there. And then the second half of the talk, we will try to bring it back down to the pool deck, talking about how we can use the concepts of understanding motor units and their organization to affect how we train and how we race. So let's start with the nerve highway, just a really simple overview of how do we get a signal from the brain to the muscles. So obviously muscles don't just contract whenever they're not supposed to. Actually, they do. So cramping or spastic muscles, those are muscles that are activating without the nervous system telling them to, right? That's an abnormal time for them to activate, and that's for different reasons we won't get into. But when you want to scratch your nose or swim freestyle or swim butterfly or whatever, the signal obviously starts up here in the brain. Yeah, this is my wonderful drawing of a brain. You have a group of neurons up here called the upper motor neuron. So this is what's starting the signal. And these are in the motor cortex, if you wanted to know, in the, I believe, postcentral gyrus, for those who are interested. So it sends a signal down into the spinal column, and actually the signal runs down the length of the neuron's arm or axon, right? So this is all the same neuron, and then it connects with neurons down here, and this is the lower motor neuron, and actually this travels from the spine all the way to the muscles, and it connects to a group of muscles, and that's your motor unit. So the nerve that is controlling a motor unit is actually sitting in your spinal column, and the nerves that travel throughout your body, those are actually just long arms and long extensions of those nerves. So these cells are pretty big, right? You can imagine one of them going from the top of your brain all the way down to your lower back is several feet long, right?